Whether you know it or not, you have a battery that determines how long you can stay in social situations. For some of us, that battery is as large as the ones found in Teslas. For others, it's one of those button batteries that you put in your key fob. Mine is the button battery. Your social battery can be depleted by work, projects, plans, and even family and friends. There's nothing wrong with spending time with them, but please take some time for yourself, especially when you feel that your battery is running low. There's nothing wrong with being alone in your own company sometimes. Some of the best advice I ever heard was that it's more important to be happy in your own company rather than anyone else's. It's exhausting to put up a face to other people when we aren't even comfortable in our own shoes. I've been there. But here's a few things I've done that have helped me cope with my social anxiety, overload, and even burnout. Number 1, day off as a day off. A lot of us make the mistake of dedicating time off from work to going out and being with friends. It can be fine if it's every other weekend, but if it's every weekend, you're never giving yourself the right amount of time to recharge. Make sure you set a day for you and yourself, preferably weekly. If that's not possible, then at least once every other week, but that's pushing it. 2, time boxing. This is when you set a time to dedicate to a project or activity. This will have a hard start and stop. For example, if I schedule a time box for a meeting for an hour, then absolutely no matter what, once that hour is up, that means that meeting is done. This is one of the best ways to schedule and learn to respect your own time. Remember, your time should always be more valuable to you than it is to other people. It might sound a bit morbid, but when you die, it's your time that's up, not anyone else's. Number 3, good old relaxation. You heard that right. Is there something that doesn't have adverse health effects that you love doing? Go do it. Take some time to take a walk, take a good nap, or watch your favorite shows. Read a good book, or make yourself a delicious meal. I like to go to the gym almost daily after work, and after I'm done working out, I hit the sauna and take a warm shower. Make sure you reward yourself in a healthy way for a day well lived. This includes wrapping up your day and getting your sleep. At the end of each night, get comfy, get snug, and get some good sleep. These are all things that will help you exponentially when you need to take a break from people and life. Now, what are some things that you should avoid? I have a few pointers. Working overtime or after hours. You're more important than your job. So if you're finding yourself working long hours, then speak up and assert some time for yourself. If you're working overtime because you need the money, I completely understand. Find a way to get promoted or find a better job. Now, I know this is a million times easier said than done, especially in today's economy, but going the extra mile to have a more comfortable job is worth the time and investment that you'll put into it. Don't stay in a physically demanding or sometimes even toxic workplace just because you fear it's the only option. There's always another option, and most of the time, it's a better option. Bottom line, work should end at the end of your shift. Time box your job before it time boxes you into a burnout. Social media. This one's pretty obvious, and it's the social aspect here. Social media is the worst for your social battery because it makes you rely on it being depleted. If you rely on a constant need for interaction and validation, not only are you going to deplete your social battery, but you're going to deplete the dopamine that should be saved for real-life interactions. You then become accustomed to receiving dopamine through the internet instead of in person, and this creates a vicious cycle where real-life interactions deplete your social battery immediately. Avoid social media as much as possible. I deleted Instagram and TikTok a while back, and I've never felt better. Drama. Yep, this one's pretty bad. And usually it involves friends and family. Drama and gossip are so mentally demanding because it hijacks our empathy. Think about it. When you're talking bad about someone, even if they deserve it, you're completely disregarding their point of view. Instead, in conversations of drama, it's always the person spilling the drama that you decide to empathize with. And I can guarantee if the person you were talking bad about started talking bad about another person, then you'd completely agree and empathize with them, unless you really hate them. This is what causes a lot of strain in family or friend groups. Opt out of drama. Even if people do talk bad about you behind your back, it won't affect you. I've met too many people that become socially anxious because they're too worried about what another person thinks about them. Don't fall into this trap. To mitigate this, avoid having toxic conversations where you're talking mean about someone just because, even though it's really fun sometimes. When you're struggling with social anxiety, it can make everyday things so much harder, but remember, no one's judging you. It's easy to be in our own heads and think that everyone is staring. This is the spotlight effect, and definitely a topic for a future entry. But remember, manage your time, give yourself a break, and be good to yourself. Time boxing and taking ownership of your time is a very effective medicine for burnout and having your social battery drained. It helps a lot with social anxiety, I know firsthand. But I hope this helps, and if it did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out my Notion for my other journal entries. I'll link it down below. If you know someone who needs to hear this, send it to them right now. And as always, I hope you have an awesome night and a good, cozy sleep. I'll see you tomorrow.